Nature's the million man.
Is everybody ready? Okay, everybody will stand.
Because I'm confused. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Board of Trustees meeting, August 19th. The mayor is on vacation, so I'm just standing.
We're lucky to have you,
Yeah,
Tom.
I appreciate that. Any miscellaneous reports,
Yes,
Paul?
I have a miscellaneous report. Do you have a miscellaneous report?
Do you have any kind of report?
No, but I wanted to say the fire department's parade was really great. It was a really fun event, actually. And it was too bad that it was on really the date where so many people were away. So it wasn't so well attended, but it was really impressive. And our department hosted all the other, I think 13 was it, Richard? Yes. And it was really impressive. They did a great job, and it seemed like also it was actually really, they had a great time. There was the parade, but then there was a couple of hours of festivities after the parade that, which was really actually very interesting. I was really glad that they hosted it, so thank them.
Hey,
Thank you.
Rebecca?
Okay, hi, everybody. Camps are over, so you're stuck with your kids. Good news, bad news. I also want to announce that there's going to be a village-wide tag sale again this fall, Saturday, September 21st, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can either call the Recreation Department at 631-8389, or you can also email your address to ttrec@aol.com. Now, your deadline to get on the map, because we all want to get on the map, is Tuesday, September 17th. So if you have any questions, you can call the Recreation Department. Last concert this Thursday, August 22nd. It's a fun concert, though. It's a group called Losing Our Faculties, and it's a group of teachers from the high school and from the junior high, and they put together a band, and they're very good, actually. So I encourage you to go out that's this Thursday at 7 p.m.
Bobby?
Yeah, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I do have one thing, and I want to bring this up because it's going to be happening. There's going to be a historic flight that's going to be going over our bridge, the Tappan Zee Bridge, and it's going to be on August 22nd at 9:30. The Royal Air Force Red Arrows from the United Kingdom will join the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds and the F-35 Lightning demo team in a historic three-team flight down the Hudson River over the Statue of Liberty on August 22nd of this year at approximately 9:30 in the morning. The Hudson flight will approach from the north side of the city over the river in a procession of 14 formations. The Blue Angels will lead the 6-aircraft Delta formation, followed by the Red Arrows in their signature Big Battle 9-aircraft wide formation. 2 F-35 Lightning Joint Strike Fighters will trail the Red Arrows, followed by the Thunderbirds in a Delta formation. The Hudson flight will fly south to New York Harbor, where the formations will make a sweeping right turn and then proceed back up the river for a second pass. They will make a pass over the United States Academy at West Point prior to landing back at Stewart International Airport. The Royal Air Force Red Arrows and F-35 Lightning demo team will also be performing at the New York International Air Show on August 24th and 25th. So this is a great opportunity for anybody that's a history buff or whatever, just to be out by the bridge at 9. I'm assuming if it starts at 9:30 in the morning from Stewart, the 22nd is what, Thursday? It's Thursday. Shouldn't take long for it to get to the Tappan Zee Bridge. So if anyone's interested, get there with a camera. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. And of course, we always thank our military and support them for the job those men and women do. So I have, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Thank you.
That sounds like a great report. Karen?
Well, that's a hard act to follow, so no, I got nothing.
You have nothing, huh? I just have one bit of news. It's household recycling fall drop-off day for 2019. They be September 28th at FDR State Park, Route 202 in Yorkville at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. I think for further information, can you put this on the Tarrytown website?
Absolutely.
So if you're looking to find additional information, it'll be on the Tarrytown website. Richard?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. There was a request earlier for an update on what's happening at 21 Wildy Street. I know there was a lot of interest in the community on having the affordable housing units there. We do have 12 affordable units at 21 Wildy Street, which is the site of the former Village Hall property. The Housing Action Council was selected and worked with Westchester County to get all the certifications, so they administered the whole process. They had 800 applicants for
Not
12
surprised.
apartments.
Not surprised.
That number is mind-boggling. One of the things that the National Resources and the Housing Action Council was waiting on from the village was closing out the certificate of occupancy so that they could get people into the units. That either was issued today or will be issued in the next day or so. So that's been cleared up. The next step they're planning for is a walk through the building. I don't have a specific date when they're going to do that or when people will be. They're vetting the applicants and everybody to make sure they have that small group of people who are the highest in the lottery. And then hopefully sometime over the next month or two, people will actually be able to get in and start living in the building. So
Wow.
that's
Sounds great.
that update.
That's what, been 8 or 9 years in the making?
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
About 8 or 9 years.
About time.
There's another thing I want to make the public aware of, which we discussed in the board work session. The H Bridge, because of an inspection by the New York State DOT, is in need of an emergency repair. The bridge is safe. It's drivable. There's no problems with closing it at this time, but there is a crack in one of the beams underneath on the structure. So we're going to declare an emergency. We're going to get a company in here. We have a proposal from an engineering firm that's advising us on how to make what repairs to make. We'll be looking at welding some plates on both sides of that crack and reinforcing the bridge. And once that's done with the proper other related work that the DOT is going to require, the bridge will be cleared and be put back in full, approval of order. But we're probably looking for the next 4 to 8 weeks for that whole process to take place. I would like to have a brief executive session with the board after the meeting on Superintendent of Public Works. We're trying to move forward with that. And was there anything else that the board had questions
Will
on?
the H Bridge be closed at all during that time in order to
The
make any repairs?
The H Bridge should not be closed. What we may have to do is brace it from underneath while the repairs are being made. So they'll have, heavy timber,
Okay,
things that are bracing it from underneath.
okay.
Which I think it is important for people to understand that of what we own and what we don't own of the H Bridge, that we only own the 2 large sides of the H.
Yes.
Not
The 2 legs of the H,
short
not the
side of
center
the
span.
H, yeah.
Exactly right, Paul. The 2 inclines with that top piece on both sides of the track are the villages. The one short span that goes across Metro North Railroad, that is Metro North. So the village maintains our part. We do have some other repairs that are going to take place over the next 12 to 18 months with funds supplied by a New York State bridge grant, but we're moving forward with that. We're trying to get the final approval on all the comments and everything from the DOT, which our engineers are working on. I do want to mention there's a couple of workshops happening in September. One is going to be an exercise that we're working on with Phelps Hospital for an emergency situation scenario. We're looking at the end of September. I don't have the final dates on both, but I believe the 19th will be the Phelps emergency scenario, probably from something like 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. So we will be sending out advance notices to people who park in the lot. We'll maintain an area of parking for people who want to go to and from the rec center for the gym purposes and things like that.
Would it also make sense to put flyers on cars?
We will be doing flyers, we'll send out emails, we'll post it on cars, everything. We'll get the word out.
That's one of my concerns. We were
Yep.
talking about this. It's just going into the city, getting back from the city, to make sure we're all on the same page and getting people in
Yes.
and out of there.
Are
So
they
really-
using- Which lot are they using?
The main lot we're going to use is going to be the recreation lot.
Right, it's
So
not
we're
a
gonna have-
Tuesday, right?
We're going to have, it'll be a Thursday. What's that?
It's not going to be a Tuesday,
It's not a
right?
Tuesday.
Because that
It'll be
would
a-
just really,
It'll be a Thursday again. The event will probably be from 5 to 8, but we'll have setup starting at 3, and we'll
Okay.
wrap up by 9 o'clock.
all right, thanks.
We'll have ambulances there, with police cars, the fire department will be involved. We're talking about some scenarios that could happen based on other emergencies and disastrous events that have happened at public places. We want to think about those things and be prepared for them in the future. The other event that's taking place is a sustainability forum that we're working on with other neighboring villages, I believe Sleepy Hollow, Irvington. There might be one other village besides Tarrytown, but we're working on that with the Nature Conservancy. It's going to be a day-long workshop that the village is hosting down at the Senior Center, again on a Thursday. It'll be Thursday, September 26th, probably 8:30 to 4:30. So we will not be closing any of the commuter lots, but we will need extra parking in the recreation lot. So we'll have plenty of parking for everybody. We'll ask people to, if we do need to allow overflow for the commuters, we'll let everybody know about that too. And then just to wrap up on the pool, we had the pool has another few weeks. We will be open through Labor Day and then also the weekend after Labor Day. So we will be closed as kids are back in school, Tuesday through Friday, and then we'll be open, I believe it's the 8th and 9th, if that makes sense? Okay, the weekend after Labor Day. And then that'll be it for the year. I believe our total membership of the pool this year was over 1,200 members.
That's good.
So, very successful. People had a great time. We did have to effect some repairs on some railings. We got a new pump to replace one that had some problems with it, but everything's been going smoothly. So I want to thank Joe Arduino, Anthony Ross, Mike Wisniewski, and the other staff down at the pool and the Village Recreation Department who kept everything running, top notch.
I think the board wants to also say thank you.
So that's all I've got.
Okay, so there's no changes or additions to the agenda. Public hearing, rezoning of Lot 37, South Depot Plaza, which is a continuation. To have a motion to open up.
So moved, Mr. Deputy.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, first speaker, go ahead. Your name and your address.
Good evening, Mr. Deputy Mayor, members of the board. I'm Linda Whitehead. I'm a partner with the firm of McCullough, Goldberger, and Stout. We're here representing the petitioner, Tarrytown Self-Storage 2 LLC. They are the owner of the property at 27 South Depot Plaza, which is also known, we refer to it commonly as Lot 37. The different properties on South Depot, this is the small building. It's a small lot. It's about 0.2 acres, has a 4,000 square foot empty warehouse building on it. That is tax lot 37. The building across the street, also owned by our client, is lot 38, and then the other building further down that is still home to a recycling facility is lot 39. This particular property, lot 37, is currently zoned WD waterfront. The others are zoned ID industrial. The only other properties on the east side of the tracks that are zoned waterfront are owned by the MTA, as was this lot at one time. And it really doesn't make sense for it to be zoned waterfront. It's not on the waterfront. It's nowhere near the waterfront. And it is the only non-MTA parcel that is still zoned WD. We think there was an error made at some point where it was not rezoned to ID as the other lots on South Depot Plaza were. In fact, the current warehouse building is not permitted under the WD zoning, but it's been there for some time now. So we have proposed to rezone it to ID, the industrial district, to match the other lots on South Depot Plaza. Again, there's no practical use of the property under the WD. The WD is really a waterfront zone. It allows marinas, parks, municipal facilities other than recreational facilities, things like that that are really meant to be on the waterfront. and on bigger parcels. So it's also smaller than the minimum lot size for any of the uses in the waterfront district. So that's why we are proposing for it to be rezoned to ID. As you're aware, our client has a proposal for a mixed-use development on Lot 38, directly adjacent to this lot. And the hope is to attract a brewery restaurant use for this property as an adaptive reuse of the existing building. Our client's been in discussions, but nobody really wants to move forward until they know it's a permitted use. And a restaurant bar facility is a permitted use in the ID district. You referred this to the planning board. The planning board has made a recommendation back to you in favor. They did have one slight concern because they don't like the fact that self-storage is permitted in the ID zone. They wanted to make sure this wasn't going to be more self-storage. This lot's really too small to be used for self-storage anyway. So our client agreed to, if this board wants, a deed restriction saying they will not put self-storage on this property. And that was in the memo that came back to you from the planning board as part of their recommendation. So we're happy to answer any questions, but that's really a summary of what we're requesting and why.
Does the board have any questions?
I just would like to make a comment. I'm a little concerned about, not so much about the rezoning part, but about the microbrewery and the restaurant, because right next door, of course, are the Franklin Towers and the Franklin Courts, and you're going to be sharing parcel of land, and I have great concern whether or not that is the best use for that property, considering the residents who live so close by. I just wanted to put that out there so you know that I feel I represent that group as a liaison, and I just have a lot of concern about it, and I know they do too, and we'll be speaking at proper times further on down the road.
And obviously, we're going to have to come in for a site plan approval for that use, and we will try with the site plan to be sensitive and sort of direct the activity away from the
Right.
Residential property next door. But when we look at this, when we look at the comprehensive plan that the village has recently adopted, this is really the type of use that the comprehensive plan encourages in this location, to bring people to the area. So that's what we're really trying to do. And so we will certainly be sensitive to that and
Please
try
do,
to,
because it
to,
will become
to
an
plan
issue.
it in a way that it will hopefully not negatively impact on those neighbors. And
They've been there
we'll
a
look
long
at the
time.
distance between and what can be done for some buffering and things like that. So when we get to the site plan phase, we'll certainly take a look at that.
Okay.
Is there any more questions? Is this a mixed use?
This property will not be, I mean, it'll be part of the overall mixed use when you combine the two sites, but this is a very small property. You can't really mix uses on it. It's too small. So the plan for this particular site is to be a restaurant, brewery type of use, to complement the new multifamily and retail going across the street. And I am aware that the referral to the county was not done, so you can't actually act on this tonight, is my understanding, because we have to wait. So, but we wanted to still come and make the presentation and understand that you need to hold it over and that you cannot vote tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak from the public? Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby continue the public hearing to Monday, September 16th, 2019, on the Village of Tarrytown zoning code amendment, Chapter 305, to rezone Lot 37, South Depot Plaza, from waterfront district to industrial district in order to allow the owner's craft brewery public proposal. Opportunity for the public to address the board only on agenda items.
No, we have to,
Oh.
Motion on that.
Yeah, the motion, could I have a motion?
so moved.
All
Aye.
all in favor?
Move on.
Move on. Opportunity for the public to address the board only on agenda items. Speakers shall have 3 minutes each to address the Board of Trustees. Does anyone want to speak on, Fire Department membership changes. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby approve the following Fire Department membership changes recommended at the July 16, 2019 Board of Fire Wardens meeting. Members, Nicholas Morabito and Todd Goodman have been approved as members of Marine 5. Nigel Glidden, membership status at Hope Hose Company changed to associates.
So moved, Deputy Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Rich and I have come up with, we're going to do a little different format tonight on large agenda items, okay? So,
You
Go-
gonna sing it?
yeah, I was going to sing it because the way it sounds, it says,
What are you gonna do?
go Orange Day for Hunger Action Month to support feeding Westchester. Rich, you want to give us a little update
So
on
we're
that?
just going to, on some of the bigger resolution items, we're just going to make a note that we're summarizing these. The village is, this resolution would be by the village to support Hunger Action Month. And there's a resolve clause that Tom could read.
Good enough.
Okay.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby support Go Orange for Hunger Action Month and declare September 12, 2019 as Hunger Action Day in the Village of Tarrytown. Whereas the village will participate with efforts to Go Orange to keep, to help raise awareness about hunger and encourage individuals to get involved in helping to feed their neighbors. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Surplus equipment, emergency generators, and second assistant fire chief's vehicles. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby declare the old emergency generator at the water pump station, which has greatly exceeded its useful life and which has already been replaced, as surplus for sale and disposal as scrap. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby declare the following as surplus: a 2007 Chevy Tahoe, second assistant fire chief vehicle, number 2463, VIN 4279, odometer reading 109, 579 actual mileage. Do I have a
So moved.
motion? Second? Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
The Warner Library Agreement, Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown hereby authorize the mayor to execute the Warner Library Agreement between the Village of Tarrytown and the Village of Sleepy Hollow for the 5-year period from June 1st, 2019 to May 31st, 2024, which consideration to accommodate population changes that may arise in the 2020 census, which agreement shall govern the annual contribution by the villages to the operation of Warner Library.
What are the current percentages between us and Sleepy Hollow?
I think it's roughly,
4 point something and 46.666.
yeah,
Thank you.
so pretty close to 50, yeah.
Okay, a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Amendment to the master fee schedule, peddlers / vendors. Be it resolved that the master fee schedule for the Village of Tarrytown is hereby amends the peddlers / vendors fees as follows: $125 annually, 1 to 5 people; $250 annual, 6 to 10 people; $375 annual, 11 to 15 people; and $500 annual, 16 to 20 people. $35 per day per person for special events. Can I get a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and here's another one that we're gonna,
So Tom and everybody, very quick summary of this. The board and the traffic committee looked at recommending reduction in traffic speeds, and this would change chapter 291-67 to enact a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit on Prospect Avenue its entire length. We looked at some other streets, but we're not ready to move forward with all those yet. I think it needs further study. So this one's ready to go.
okay, so this is Prospect Avenue 25 in its entire length.
Correct. So if we have a motion?
So moved.
Second, I'll second Trustee.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then
Also,
similar,
the second one is also another vehicle. You
Yep.
wanna go through that?
similar item, chapter 291-77, to establish a no parking area on both sides of the Riverview Avenue Bridge. This is the pedestrian bridge across, I guess this is the Low Brook that goes under Tappan Brook?
No, that's what,
It is the Low Brook, it's, right?
they're called- I don't know what it's called.
Well, it goes between Tappan Landing
between
and,
Tappan
it
Landing,
goes
yeah.
between Tappan Landing and Riverview.
Right.
And this would establish an area where there's basically no parking area in front of the walkway for one car length, so people can get in and out of the bridge.
Okay, so the name of the street is Riverview Avenue, the side is west, and location from the pedestrian footbridge in a southerly direction from a distance of 25 feet, and from the west curve in an easterly direction for a distance of 9 feet. Can I get a motion? Second?
Second. So this is going to be really in Tappan Landing then? This is
It's on the Riverview side.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yes. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Rich, you want to give us a little summary on this one too?
Sure.
Authorization of the village to act on as a grant funding?
Yes, sir. The village did receive a grant of, I'm sorry, TASH, or our Rivertown Village Green, the farmer's market, received a grant from Westchester Community Foundation, of $10,000. We've done this before. We'll act as the administrating agent to handle and disperse the money. So the board can authorize the resolution.
Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby authorize the Village of Tarrytown to act as a grant funding recipient and transferor, accepting a grant from the Westchester Community Foundation to process the payment to the Rivertown Village Green and disperse them to the Rivertown Village Green in accordance with the terms of the grant. There will be, say again?
I am
And basically, that I would be authorized to sign this agreement.
There will be no Village of Tarrytown funds,
excited.
nor the other financial obligations will be expanded through this financial partnership. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees thereby authorize the village administrator to take the necessary and appropriate action, including to sign the agreement to the satisfaction of the village attorney, and to authorize the village trustee to accept these funds from the Westchester Community Foundation and disperse them to the Rivertown Village Green. Carol? All in favor? This is a grant contract authorizing New York State DEC Hudson River Estuary Program. Rich, you want to summarize this one a little bit?
Sure. We did apply last year for this grant and reapplied this year. The DEC awarded us $271,000 to finish the shoreline rehabilitation work. So last year we got a grant of $300,000, which we're already working on to fix the corner of the old bulkhead that's rusted out. This is fixing the shoreline that's basically collapsing into the river between that rusty bulkhead and the kayak launch. I think next year we would like to apply for an additional grant to put in a concrete ramp so people can get up and down the kayak ramp more safely.
Oh, sounds good. All right, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby accept the New York State DEC Hudson River Estuary Grant of $271,000 for the Tarrytown Losi Park Shoreline Stabilization and Educational Project under the 2019 New York State DEC Hudson River Estuary Program, with the elimination of the dock considered under the application, to continue work on the shoreline stabilization effort, and to also include landscaping and interpretive educational signage. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees does hereby authorize the Village of Tarrytown to enter into an agreement with the state DEC and directs the village administrator to sign such agreement. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Interpretive educational signage? What's that going to
Worked
be?
on that with Shelley Colley. I think the intent is to have signs that talk about the fish and the wildlife and the oysters and other things in the river.
Aw, that's nice.
Isn't that nice?
Good. All right. Award of an alternative bid, Losi Park Shoreline Stabilization Park. Do you
So,
want to go through
I'll
this
sum
one?
this up as well.
Yeah, because,
The village had previously bid out this contract work with the hope that we would get the DEC grant. There was an alternate aspect of that contract that the board already authorized. So now that we have the funds through this grant agreement with the DEC, we can fund that alternate work. So again, we're going to repair the shoreline. It'll be riprap and a slope similar to what we have in Pearson Park. And the total estimated cost to the base bid that we had awarded for the first phase of work to Arpuni also kept them the low bidder for this alternate. So their amount was $478,601, and we recommend the award of that additional alternate aspect of the original bid.
Thank you. Whereas upon review, it is the staff's recommendation to award the add-all portion of the previous awarded base contract to R. Pugney and Sons to continue working on the shoreline stabilization effort with a separate process and contract for landscaping and interpretive educational signage. And now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby award alternative bid for the Losi Park Shorelines Restoration Project to the lowest responsible bidder, R. Pugney and Sons Incorporated, and Mr. Katona, New York, per their alternate bid of $478,601 based on unit prices, and be it further resolved that the village administrator is hereby authorized and directed to execute a contract with R.
So
Pugney and
execute
Sons.
this alternate of contract amendment.
Say again?
So, Tom, as we discussed before, you're right. That the village administrator is authorized and directed to execute this alternate contract amendment
Okay.
Right.
with Arpuni and Sons.
Okay, so based on
What he
that
said.
addendum or that change,
Yep.
can I get a motion?
Yes, so moved, Mr. Deputy Mayor, as amended by the administrator.
Second.
Okay, fine.
You okay, fine?
Looking at me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Cedar Hill Landscaping Proposal, natural landscaping for the Riverwalk. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby authorize and direct the village administrator to enter into an agreement with Cedar Hill Landscaping, Inc. in Katona, New York for weeding removal, remediation along the Riverwalk, per the revised proposal of $15,616. You want to give us a little update on what's
Yes.
going on here? 'Cause-
The board, certain board members and staff did a walkthrough of the Riverwalk. We noted during that walkthrough that there's a lot of weed growth through the originally planted landscaping. There's another problem with some of the landscaping, especially in overly hot weather, or let's say after rain events. Some of these really tall grasses bend over and flop into the pathway, either obstructing the pathway or reducing it to, a quarter of its original width. So in the immediate time, we're looking to get a real strong push to have them remove all the weeds. And then for some time, for next spring, we'll be putting together a new bid for them to add grassy strips along the edges of the sidewalk so that we can so we can mow those areas, keep the areas clean for people to walk through, and then try to get those plants that are next to the sidewalk areas moved to other areas that won't impact how people can walk through the park.
Thank you. So the long and short, we're doing some maintenance on the Riverwalk to keep it beautiful.
Exactly right.
And,
Walkable.
Walkable.
beautiful and walkable. All right. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, second.
All in favor?
All right.
Oh, you're so wonderful.
I know, I am. I'm working hard.
Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees held on July 15, 2019. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees held on July 15, 2019, as submitted by the village clerk.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye, aye, aye.
Aye, 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 is right. Approval of the audited vouchers. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tarrytown does hereby approve abstract number 3, which includes the August 5th, 2019, and the August 19th, 2019 audited vouchers in total amount of $2,543,999.98, as presented by the village treasurer, to be paid in the following amounts. All right, in general, $1,631,980.25. Water, $352,158.58. Sewer, 0. Capital, $484,865.65. Library, $55,826.51. Trustee and agency, $19,168.99, for a total of $2,543,999.98.
So moved.
Second. Oh, yes.
All in favor?
Aye, yes.
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 And yes. Opportunity for public to address the board. Speakers have 5 minutes before yielding to the next speaker, then 3 minutes for additional comments. There's nobody here. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn, to discuss a brief
All right, anybody
executive.
have anything?
Before we adjourn, I just wanted to confirm that we're going back to our 2 meetings a month. So we're meeting next here in 2 weeks from now?
Yes, so the next work session will be, actually, Karen, good point. The next work session is going to be August 28th, which is a Wednesday. Then the next board meeting will be a Tuesday after Labor Day. So I believe it's Tuesday, September 3rd.
And then we're back to twice a month.
Twice a month. There we go.
Good enough. So before we say goodnight, I want everybody to have a safe and great Labor Day, because we probably won't see you until after Labor Day.
That's right.
That's good. I'm gonna echo that.
All right.
Make the motion that we
So
adjourn.
moved.
All in favor?
Karen,
All right, good night and have a
Good night,
good,
everybody. Take care.
have a good Labor Day.
Enjoy the
It is.
day.